Hello, everybody. My name is Limit, and welcome to another episode of me ranking and tier listing things. This is the Wild Hearts episode, where I'm going to be analyzing and ranking these monsters from the new game Wild Hearts from Koei Tecmo and EA. Because that's what makes a game like this great. The monsters. It's what makes you want to fight them. It's what makes things interesting, and you want to keep on playing the game because you want to see what kind of monster you're going to be fighting next. With that being said, this will be my experience of the game. I played through this game the whole week. It has its issues, performance problems aside, but this is how I experienced it. Mind you, I mained a hammer for most of these experiences, so mileage may vary if you played a different weapon or if you've experienced a different weapon when you've been playing this game, from my experiences. So this will be my tier list and my rankings. If you have disagreements or if you don't share my opinion, please feel free to mention it on the comments below, and then we can get started. First off, we will be mentioning the Rage Tail. It is your introductory monster. Great aesthetic. It is a wood-based monster, if I'm not mistaken. If you have never played a Monster Hunter type game before, it's a very good introduction. Not too difficult. Introduces you to the various mechanics of the game, the karakuri and all that other good stuff that are input into the game. It has its own part breaks, which introduces you to part break system, gathering the stuff that you can collect and harvest from the monsters. Overall, a very good introductory monster, both aesthetic and fight, making it a B rank monster, to be honest. The middest of the mids, we'll put them right there. Not too bad, not too great either. Very good introduction. Alright, moving on, we have your Sap Scourge. Sap Scourge introduces you to ailments. It introduces the sap mechanic where it kind of slows you down and you have to use karakuri to shake it off. Yet again, another beginner-friendly monster. Not too difficult, not too crazy. If you are new to this kind of game, it might start leaning towards the more difficult end just because you're being introduced to this whole new thing, but easy enough that you can overcome it and you can learn the mechanics through. If you are a Monster Hunter aficionado or a veteran, once again, still a very early monster, still shouldn't pose any threats to you, and just a very fun and easier match for you to go through as your second monster. Since it does introduce a new mechanic, even though it's kind of like in the same tier as a Rage Tail, it's not a massive step up. I wanna put it still in B rank, just because it's still in that opening phase of the game. So Sap Scourge, B rank. We're still in that mid kind of setting. Moving forward, we have the King Tusk. Alright, the King Tusk might be a lot of people's first wall, especially if you're new to the genre. If you're new to monster hunting in general, the King Tusk might be the first barrier for you to move forward in the game. Massive monster. Introduces you to the gravity of the game. Very good drops from this monster. A lot of breaks depending on the weapon that you are using. Everything falls off of this guy. The horns, these little tendrils up top, the tail, the sides of the body, they all break. The hooves, they all break. A great fight. If you're new to the hunting genre, it might be your first wall. But if you've played Monster Hunter before, this might be your first incredibly fun fight, and with incredible drops that will probably carry you into your next fights. So with that being said, I will be putting King Tusk in the A rank. It's our first monster in the A rank. Lovely monster, really fun. I had a lot of fun fighting this guy. I farmed a lot of King Tusks, so kudos to King Tusk. Well played, King Tusk. Next, we have the Spine Glider, or the Squirrel Dolphin. A Spine Glider is the first monster that you fight Moving into a next continent, onto a different continent. I think it's called Natsukodachi. Uh, Incredible fight in the sense that it introduces you with it's the game's introduction to fusion karakuri. You're gonna have to use this massive hammer that you put together in order to smack down its own construct. Conceptually, it's kind of fun. Design-wise, it's kind of great. It's water element. I think this is your first departure from the wood elements that you've been fighting in the first map. Overall, it's an okay fight. It's your first water elemental weapon. You will be fighting a lot of fire elements in the game, which is commonly their weaknesses. So you'll be fighting Spine Glitter quite a bit if you want to use that attribute to your advantage. But once again, not too difficult, not too great. It's all right. Once again, we have another monster in the B rank, another mid kind of monster. That's where we're going to be putting Spine Glider. Next on deck would be the Dreadclaw. The Dreadclaw is yet again another wood type monster, but this time it's a bird. It's a literal chicken. Has a lot of part breaks, which is always kind of fun. The tails break, the chest pieces break, the face breaks 3 times if I'm not mistaken. You have like the crown and then like these eye covers and there's something else. And it flies. I think this is where you get introduced to the firecracker karakuri. It's kind of cool, but overall this fight is not, it's not the best, just because you have the same, like you're getting into monotony at this point where, okay, I've been fighting these series of kind of relatively easy monsters, and even once you've dipped your toes into the game, even if you're new to the genre, at this point finding a Dreadclaw is not really going to be all that exciting for you. It does have some decent drops that you might want to farm it for. It's easy enough to kill multiple times, so you can get all the materials that you need to get your gear and your weapons. But overall, I think this will be our first monster in the C rank. This is our first monster that will be dropping into the C rank. Let's moving forward. We have the Grit Dog. The Grit Dog is a bit more of a challenge. The Grit Dog is a I want to say earth elemental, because it is probably it's an earth elemental. It sucks you in. It gives you the suck. It's like a magnet based hedgehog, sort of. Not really. You meet this guy in the beach in Natsukodachi. Depending on how farmed up you are, this guy might pose a challenge, or it might be really, really easy, depending on how all of his attacks are telegraphed, so you can dodge it relatively easily. Overall, decent fight. Not the best. Great materials. Good for building your next tier of weapons. But nothing too crazy about it. It doesn't really add too much to your experience. Once again, a mid monster, but a little bit higher than the Dreadnought, or is it Dreadnought? Yeah, Dreadclaw. Sorry, Dreadclaw. A bit higher than the Dreadclaw, just in terms of the fight, because it's a bit more fun. This guy's a bit more bulky, a bit more husky when it comes to the HP pool. So we'll be putting the Grit Dog mid again. We have a lot of mid monsters to this point. The mechanics are great, but the monsters are all based in animals, so it's not really anything too crazy. And I will give them props to make these monsters not as difficult, especially if you're new to the genre. I think this is more of like they're inviting more people, they're inviting newer people into the Monster Hunter genre, which is something I can give them props for. So yeah, Grit Dog, another mid monster, to be honest. Moving forward, we have the Lava Back. Now, here's the thing with the Lava Back. The person, when they made this guy, they said, how much do you want this guy to be like Monkey D. Luffy from One Piece? And they said, yes. Because everything that this guy does is based off of Monkey D. Luffy. All of his movesets, all of his mannerisms, it's great. I love this monster. I farm this monster a lot. It creates the ninja gear. has a great fire weapon that comes off of it. I probably killed like 20 of these at least 20, I would say. Wonderful fight. It's starting to challenge you at this point. If you're feeling lull with all the monsters that you've been fighting so far, well, the lava back will kind of challenge you a bit, wake you up. Hey, buddy, it's game time. I want to say lava back is one of the highlights of this game. I want to put lava back into the S rank. He's our first S rank monster. Well, good job, lava back. Moving on, we have the Earthbreaker. So this is one of I would say the equivalent of a legendary monster in Wild Hearts. This is a spectacle of a fight. You can't really lose this fight. I mean, I guess you can, but for the most part, it's more of a scripted fight. You go through these series of sequences where they introduce the hand cannon to you, and then you shoot it from afar. This monster, this Kemono, is the size of a continent. Shoot it from afar, and you grab onto it. You sasageyo, and then you just kill it outright. I don't know how we kill it. Somehow it dies after you smack its hand a couple of times, but it does. As a set piece fight, it's very similar if you played Monster Hunter World to Zora Magdaros. As a fight, it's a scripted fight. It's meant to be a scripted fight. I guess it's okay. It's whatever. Great materials. It opens up a lot of new weapons for you. That's when you start to get the hand cannon, the claw, the sickle and claw, and then the pole, which turns into like 5 other things: a boomerang, a tonfa, a spear, and like a shuriken of sorts. But yeah, it's great as a spectacle fight. You can farm this with a certain quest that you can just do over and over again. As far as materials go, he literally gives rocks, which you also have access to once you finish his fight. It opens up the other 2 maps, and you can just grab rocks from the walls from there. Not the best. As a spectacle fight, I want to say that it's more of a D rank kind of fight. It's necessary, but like it's not even mid enough for you to be farming him up. He gives rocks. He's alright. It's, I guess, whatever. Addition. Alright. Earthbreaker, ladies and gentlemen. Moving forward, let's head on to the Spore Tail. So we are moving into variant territory here. I will not cover Volatile Kemono, which is after Chapter 5, which is Endgame. We'll not cover that here, mostly because they're mostly the same as the original variants. It's not. I don't feel like they're worth mentioning. But once the game expands more in the future, we might come back to them. But right now, we'll just focus on the actual variants that we see in the game. There's also mighty variants of these monsters, but again, same thing. We have Spore Tail. This introduces the sleep mechanic. The same, basically the same as a Rage Tail, but this guy summons a lot of little dudes to the fight, which is a bit more dangerous than him. I feel like, honestly, it's because all those little dudes ruin your combos, and a lot of the weapons in the game bring out their full potential once you can land a full combo on a monster, or not even the full combo, just land the last hit of your combo. That usually what makes your damage output big, and the Spore Tail kind of stops all that, because number one, they put you to sleep, and they summon little dudes that screw you around. Just makes things difficult for you generally. So I would say Spore Tail as a fight, pretty decent. Great introduction of the sleep mechanic, and you do get a lot of good materials from Spore Tail. So I want to put him right by the King Tusk. Pretty decent variant. Not the best, but pretty decent, pretty good. I want to say it's pretty good. Like I would always obviously pick a Spore Tail over a Rage Tail any time of the day. So great monster overall. Moving forward, we have the Gold Shard. The Gold Shard is your introduction to this porcupine dude. If the lava back is based off of Luffy, this guy is based off of Sonic. Shoots pin missiles. If you're unprepared, this guy can whoop your ass. Yet again, another pretty strong monster, pretty great monster, pretty great addition. Lots of things break off of him. Tail gets cut off. These little spike things, they get cut off. The fangs, they get broken. Pretty decent monster. Lots of good materials. Lots of good weapons that you can craft out of it. Once again, another solid variant. I would put it on A rank again. There we go. We have another A rank with the Gold Shard. Moving forward, we have the Fume Beak. The Fume Beak. Great design, number one. Great design for an enemy. Relatively easy to kill. I think the bird archetype in this game, like any enemy that you see it is a bird, I think they have less HP than everyone else, just because I think they're harder to attack. So the way they balance that is that these enemies have less HP, but they do give you tools to reach them or bring them out of the air. So it kind of just makes them weaker overall. Fume Beak, great design on the gear that you get from it. Decent weapons. The fight itself, nothing too crazy. Although I want to say it does prepare you for some of the harder fights down the line. It teaches you a certain thing. It teaches you a certain mechanic. But overall, okay fight. Nothing too crazy. Once again, another pile to be added on the B rank. Yet again, another mid monster, a Kemono. Nothing too crazy. It's great if you like ravens. Pretty good design. But overall, nothing too crazy. That's the Fume Beak. Moving forward, we have the Ice Tusk, which is the King Tusk variant in Fugatsu. Fuyu something. The map, the ice map, the winter map. Ice Tusk, great as a spectacle, as big as the King Tusk. Obviously it's ice element, but it doesn't really add anything. I feel like, yeah, you get an ice weapon, I guess it's an access to an ice weapon, but there is an ice Kemono that you'd rather fight at this point, which is so much better. You might need to kill this guy a couple of times just to get a few pieces for your whole set, but overall, kind of a weaker fight, kind of a weaker monster. It's not too bad. So it's a bit lower than mid, so I dubbed the Ice Tusk into the C rank. It's a C rank monster. Moving forward, we have the Cobalt Lava Back. Ooh. The Cobalt Lava Back. Now, the Cobalt Lava Back, I thought, I guess that's my fault because it literally said lava, but I thought this guy was like an ice elemental, so I kind of prepped for it with ice elements, with flame elements, so that I could fight him with an advantage. Turns out, no, he is a fire element as well as the original lava back. It's in the name. I should have just paid attention, but that was on me. Cobalt lava back, nothing too crazy. Pretty much the same as a regular lava back. He does this wacky dive move. Well, he literally dives into the ground and then just jumps up like a shark, as opposed to jumping up high and then dropping on you as the lava back does. So it has a bit of a different move, but not really. I feel like the mighty version of the lava back is a better fight than the Cobalt lava back, and it's just like a different way to fight the lava back, but nothing too crazy. That being said, I feel like they got really lazy for this one, so I can't even call it mid. How good I know how great lava back is. It's an S tier monster, but for me personally, I feel like they got lazy with this one, and it's just like, okay, you know what, lava back, cobalt lava back, you're gonna be right here in C rank. It's still a great fight. It's still a lava back, but it's not. It wasn't even mid. I feel like they didn't even try with this one. Moving forward, we have... Alright, we are stepping into like the legendaries at this point. Death's Stalker. The Death Stalker is probably another wall for newer players. If you're experienced with Monster Hunter, the Death Stalker can kill you, but if you're really, really good and you really, really pay attention, you can one-try this guy. Death Stalker is probably one of the first monsters that a lot of people will be farming up for. He has great stats on his gear, great stats on his weapon. He gives you pretty much the crit build of this game. Amazing piece of the story of the game itself. This is the first monster you fight in Wild Hearts, albeit you're kind of destined to lose to him. I have not beat him on my first meeting, so I'm not sure if you can beat him. It's very possible that you can if you're really good at gaming, but I have yet to see that, so I did not see it. Great fight overall, great gear. Yet again, another solid monster. I want to put the Death Stalker into the S rank right beside the lava back. Amazing monster. Really good fight, really great fight. Yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys who played this game or will be playing this game will be farming up the Death Stalker, so good luck with that. Next on deck we have the Onyx Shard, which is the variant of the Gold Shard. This guy has a spin attack like Sonic and introduces you to like a quick barrier that has a net as your karakuri. It does a fuck ton of damage, this guy. He's pretty much a souped up version of the Gold Shard, obviously, but if he wants you dead, he can kill you. I want to say. So you gotta be a bit careful. Don't overly underestimate the Onyx Shard. With that being said, though, I'm not too impressed with what they did with the Onyx Shard. And again, it's more of like a damage dump. Like increasing the stats of a monster does not make a new monster. So again, we're moving into like they kind of lazed out on it a bit. So once again, another C rank monster for me. Onyx Shard, you belong with the rest of them in C. Onyx Shard, C rank. Moving forward, we have the Pearl Beak, which is the ice variant of the Fume Beak. So instead of poison, you have ice. You do need to kill the Pearl Beak a little bit once you're in that tier of weapons and gear. Aside from that, same fight as the Fume Beak. Nothing too crazy, relatively easy bird to kill. Has spouts of water as its attack. Once again, it does train you for another fight down the line in the future. But other than that, nothing. Not great. It's not a great variant. So once again, I wanna put the Pearl Beak at D tier because you already have a mid monster with the Fume Beak, and then you got lazy even more at this point in the game where it's like, okay, excite me, because by the time you fight the Pearl Beak, you're more than 50% of the game through. So I'm not too thrilled fighting the Pearl Beak. As a matter of fact, I think I killed this thing once. That's how uninterested I am in the Pearl Beak. I killed it one time for that one thing that I needed, and then it took me like 4 minutes and I was like done with it, and then I never saw it again. D rank. It's our first D rank monster. Sorry, Pearl Beak, you kind of suck. Next we have the Venom Glider. I gotta admit, I did not fight the Venom Glider up until post game. So this guy was a joke to me. I killed him in a minute. Again, it's kind of like the same as the Pearl Beak, where it's you already have this kind of mid of a monster, and then you're just adding poison. So it's literally the just juxtaposition of Pearl Beak being poison and then into water, and you have your water with a spine glider into the Venom Glider into poison. it felt lazy to me. So it goes into D. Sorry. Venom Glider is a D rank monster. Rip Claw. I will be very honest with you right now. If you put Rip Claw and Dreadnought side by side, I could not tell you which is which. That's how mid and sub this monster is. As a matter of fact, when I was thinking of making this tier list, the first D rank monster that came into mind was this thing. Because not only was it super easy at the point of the game that you fight it, it's also based off an easy monster, and the materials that you get from this guy, it's not even that great. So another D rank monster, Rip Claw, you are heading into D rank, and we are down to our last 4 monsters, which are, I think, by far the most interesting monsters in the game. Next on deck, we have the Amaterasu. Amaterasu, this is its enraged variant. It's usually green. A very story-heavy monster. It's slightly scripted, but it can't kill you. It's not as free as the Earthbreaker. It does have very little lethal moves. And my suggestion, so a lot of the things that the Fume Beak does, as far as like diving moves are concerned, he will be doing, but like a lot faster. And if there is any suggestion for me, if you're struggling with this monster, if you've ever played Mega Man X before, same with the fight with Storm Eagle, you listen for the screech. Once you hear the screech, that's when you dodge, because that's how you perfect dodge this guy each time. Very cool fight, actually. I farmed Amaterasu as well. Amazing fight. He has this really cool transition when he's enraging where everything turns black and white, and he has like this massive kill move. Depending on how much HP you have when you fight him, it might be an insta kill. Honestly, one of the better fights in the game. You can fight him in the field without the assistance of the town of Minato, with shooting their Karakuri laser. So you can find him in the field. Great fight, amazing monster. Earth Elemental, by the way. I know a lot of people would assume Amaterasu, that sounds like the sun god. It might be Fire Elemental. No, he is Wood Element. So precautionary tale there. Amaterasu, another great fight. Amaterasu goes into the S rank. Great fight. Next we have Ember Plume. Okay, Ember Plume is a funny bird, because when Ember Plume walks, he walks like a person, and it's weird. He looks angry, he looks sassy. This fight can go 2 ways. It could be very easy, or it could be very hard. If you have no fire resistance, Ember Plume is the worst, because he can one-shot you with like his normal attacks. But if you do have fire resistance, this fight becomes ridiculously easy. And if you know his weakness, which is, spoilers, the Karakuri crossbow, just set one of those up and it interrupts everything he does. So this fight is ridiculously easy. For being one of the couple last fights of the game, Ember Plume, great stats on the items that you get from him. But the fight itself, if you know what you're doing, is kind of a joke. If you don't know what you're doing, it's kind of hard. So pick your poison how you want to fight him. With that being said, I'm putting Ember Plume in the A rank. Pretty decent end fight monster. Pretty funny when he walks. Great damage, but you can obviously mitigate that. At this point in the game, you'll probably be farming a lava back material, a mighty lava back material to fight him. Personally, I didn't even go to the resistance side of things. I just made sure that my gear was not negative in terms of flame attacks, and that was fine. Yeah, great fight overall. It has a cool cinematic with the next monster we're going to be featuring here, which is personally my personal favorite fight and monster in the game, which is the Golden Tempest. Oh boy, this boy challenged me. This boy really made sure that, hey, you know what? This is the fight of the game. I consider this the strongest Kemono, to be honest. I know we still have one more, but personally speaking, Golden Tempest is the strongest Kemono in the game, and this guy has a Rasengan. So how, you know how they based the lava back on Luffy? This guy was based off of Naruto. This is the first monster that made me learn his moveset, simply because if you don't, you're just dead. If you don't know his moveset and he decides to kill you, he will kill you. Amazing fight. One of the most fun I've had. Everything is breakable on this guy as well. The face, the back, the tail, those little tendrils, all of them are breakable. They are great. They are fun, and they are end game material. I am still wearing the gear that I got from the Golden Tempest. It is amazing. Defense wise, up until the last monster that is not a volatile monster, I think the Golden Tempest outstats all of them. So amazing monster, amazing fight, amazing material, amazing weapons you get from this. Golden Tempest is my favorite, personally speaking, and he goes right up there in the S rank. And finally, last but not least of the Kemono that you get gear from or materials from, you have the Celestial Dragon. This is the last of the last monsters, at least new Kemono that you'll be fighting in base game. Not entirely sure if they're going to be introducing new DLC monsters down the line. They said they will. Hopefully it's not just rehashes or remakes of or other variants of the older monsters. The Celestial Dragon, honestly, is a pushover. If you're at that point and you're well equipped and you're well geared, a Celestial Dragon fight is cool, set piece wise, but he's not really the most difficult. He gives you great stuff. Obviously, it's end game gear, so you get the final stuff in your branching paths from him. He has the 4 seasons attack. You know, you're chunked a bit of his HP once he's changing seasons. So once you get into winter, you know you're near the end. Great fight visually, easy fight as long as you know what you're doing, as long as you're dodging properly and you're not really just ignoring what he does. You should be able to defeat the Celestial Dragon relatively unscathed, and you get amazing rewards after it. With that being said, I dubbed the last monster of Wild Hearts into A rank, and that was it. I guess I'll just zoom this out. This is our tier list, ladies and gentlemen. S rank, you got your Lava Back, your Death Stalker, your Amaterasu, and your Golden Tempest. At the very top and the very bottom, you got Pearl Beak, Venom Glider, and Rip Claw. That being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this tier list. I guess it's not showing. There we go. Hope you guys enjoyed this tier list. Wait, let me unzoom that. There we go. If you guys enjoyed this tier list, and if you disagree with my tier list, feel free to appeal your dissatisfaction in the comments below. I stream every day on twitch.tv. It will be twitch.tv/limit_rx. I hope you guys come slam and watch me play video games. With that being said, have a wonderful day, and as always, be excellent to each other and break your limits. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.